watching NBC4, the Tri-State News Channel. And now, Chuck Scarborough, Sue Simmons, Janice Huff, and Len Berman. This is News Channel 4 at 11.
Good evening. Sue's off. A one-time factory-turned-condo was at the center of a very scary situation tonight. The problem is mercury. Experts have found unacceptably high levels of that metal, and now residents are being forced out. And we have the very latest live now from Dave Browdy in Hoboken. Dave?
Well, Chuck, a long time ago, this building here used to be a Mercury vapor light bulb plant. Now, nobody was told about that when they bought their apartments here. They were just told it made light bulbs. What they weren't told is come back to bite them now, because the city of Hoboken has ordered this building shut down after tests revealed not just mercury, but the high presence of mercury in some of the residents' actual bodies. It was on the 5th floor that drops of mercury were discovered under the flooring, more than half a century after the General Electric Vapor Light Bulb Company sold this building. And tonight, residents of the now condominium-converted Mercury Vapor Light Bulb plant on the corner of Grand and 8th were told they have till Tuesday noon to get out. Catherine Parker's lived here just a year with her 2 children, right underneath where the mercury was discovered.
I had them tested, and they had very high levels of mercury exposure in their urine. I'm an artist. I have to relocate my studio, my place of business. I have a show coming up and have to find a place to live, and it's a disaster.
16 families live in the space here, which was purchased by the Grand Street Artists Cooperative in 1993 from a tool and die company. For several hours, the residents grilled federal, state, and local officials who came here to give them the news that they had to leave. Officials refused to publicly discuss who will pay for the cleanup of the building, which New Jersey state environmental officials admit they gave only a superficial examination when they cleared it in 1993 for use as a residence. The officials have been refusing to discuss the situation with reporters into the evening.
And it would be unfair for me to tell you at this point what was discussed and what the future plans are before I get an opportunity to speak with the owners of the units.
That was just as the meeting began. Hours later, state environmental officials leaving the session still refused to talk about it. As to exactly who is to blame, even the lawyer representing the condominium says it's too soon to tell.
I'm told that these lamps use mercury and mercury vapor. So it's our supposition at this point, and it's very preliminary, that that's where the mercury came from.
Within the past few minutes, city officials have broken their silence, but their statements leave a lot of questions still unanswered. They do say there will be some federal funds available to the residents here, most of whom are artists, for temporary relocation, but they don't know exactly when they are going to be finished with remediation here, cleaning up this mess. And they also don't answer whether it's possible that some of this contamination may have spread to nearby buildings. They just don't know. Reporting live from Hoboken, I'm Dave Browdy, News Channel 4. Now back to you in the studio, Chuck.
All right, Dave, thank you. Officials say they are going to test the residents' belongings before they let them remove them from the building, too. Well, it is another frigid night. It doesn't appear we're going to get much relief soon, and you'll see plenty of earmuffs and scarves on the streets tonight. Chances are people are going to be stuffing those into their coat pockets so they'll be ready for the morning, too. Tomorrow is going to be about as chilly as today. Janice Huff is here with more on that for us. Janice?
Thanks, Chuck. One good thing that we don't have to deal with tonight is the wind chill. It's not as big a factor because the winds aren't quite as strong as they were last night. But these are the actual temperatures right now. Very cold. Readings in the teens north and west right now. Here in the city, the warmest spot inwood at 21 degrees. Tonight is going to be another one of those nights with single digits north and west. Garrison expecting a low of 7. Bridgeport 9. Out on Long Island and here in the city, temperatures will be down in the teens, and we may get a little spritz of snow as we go through the evening. And as Chuck mentioned, tomorrow won't be much better. We will have some sunshine and temperatures during the day, teens and 20s. And there's another snowstorm that could be developing and be on our way by Sunday. I'll have the details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you, Chuck.
All right, Janice, thank you. Well, everybody was complaining about the bitter cold. Imagine having to be out in the thick of it trying to avert a disaster. In Tribeca, firefighters and police rushed to the scene of a water tower apparently on the verge of collapse. Chopper 4 checked out the rooftop at Worcester and Broome Streets. Workers say one of the legs looked like it was about to break. The bricks underneath it had already fallen from the building. The tower was drained and repairs are underway, and there were no injuries. A house fire in Jamaica, Queens ended in heartbreak with the death of a toddler. The little girl was trapped in her bedroom in the attic. Her bed was just inside the windows. Whitney Augustin was 18 months old, and by the time firefighters reached her, it was too late. The victim's grandmother escaped the flames and said firefighters didn't move quickly enough to save the child.
They never go up. I don't know what they was doing. They just stand up pretty ladder and just looking around. I told the fireman, I said, the baby is in the attic. You could just break the window and pull the baby out.
We were very concerned about the structural stability of the attic. It was beginning to collapse on us when we were moving in. So that was a concern of ours. But the guys didn't hesitate. They got in right away and got the child.
At least 3 adults were at home at the time of the fire. An uncle who tried to save the toddler turned back because of the intense heat and smoke. Still no word tonight on what sparked this deadly fire. On Long Island, thousands turned out to pay their last respects to a firefighter who lost his life in the line of duty. 35-year-old John Clancy was killed over the weekend when he ran into a burning crack house in Jamaica looking for survivors. It turns out the building was vacant and the fire deliberately set. A suspect is under arrest and charged with Clancy's murder tonight. Clancy was the 4th New York City firefighter to die in the line of duty in 1995. John Gotti, Sammy the Bull Gravano. It was once a match made in mob heaven. But now the one-time Teflon Don is seeking revenge against the man who helped send him up the river. News Channel 4's John Miller knows the Gotti story better than anybody, and tonight he has the latest.
There was a time when they were the best of friends. John Gotti promoted Sammy the Bull Gravano ahead of many old-timers to make him the #2 man in the Gambino crime family. And Sammy paid him back by becoming the star witness against him at the trial. Now Gotti's lawyers think they may get Gotti a new trial because they say Gravano lied on the stand by not admitting to 2 murders he allegedly committed. And Gotti's lawyers say they can back that up with jailhouse witnesses who were actually involved. Jim Fox, who oversaw the Gotti case for the FBI, suggested today the Gambino crime family has influenced, coached, and paid witnesses before.
One more very important thing in all this concerning John Gotti himself. He's under lockdown in a federal maximum security penitentiary, under lockdown 23 hours a day. He's been in jail 5 years. He knows he'll never get out. As tough as he is, he's got to be getting desperate.
In the court papers, Gotti's lawyers also charged that Gravano didn't tell the FBI about 5 tons of cocaine he was involved in bringing up from Colombia, and that by failing to tell them that, Gravano broke his deal with the feds to tell all, and now he should go to jail. During the Gotti trial, Gravano admitted to 19 murders, said he only committed 1 of them as the trigger man himself, and said he had nothing to do with drugs, although he said sometimes people who were involved with drugs got killed by the family. But what difference does it all make? If he left out a couple of murders or even a few tons of cocaine, what's that got to do with John Gotti's conviction? Well, Gotti's lawyers have a very simple legal theory. They say if they can prove that Gravano lied about himself, then that maybe he lied about Gotti too.
Why would Gravano confess to 19 of 21 murders? Why not 21 of 21? And if he confesses to 19 murders, why not admit he was involved in drugs? It just doesn't make sense.
The Gotti case has already been to the U.S. Supreme Court and back. And now, just a day before the appeal deadline would run out for good, Gotti's team is giving it another try. John Miller, News Channel 4.
Well, John also reports the Gotti camp claims the government will do anything to cover for Gravano's lies. In Washington, a newly uncovered White House memo involving Hillary Clinton is drawing congressional charges of a cover-up tonight. The memo identifies the First Lady as the key figure in mass firings at the White House Travel Office a couple of years back, an assertion she has denied. The memo was written by a former White House aide. It talked about the First Lady's insistence the situation be resolved immediately by replacing the travel office staff. The aide wrote, "There would be hell to pay if we failed to take swift and decisive action in conformity with the First Lady's wishes." The problem with that? The White House told Congress back in 1994 Mrs. Clinton did not know the origin of the decision to remove the White House Travel Office employees. She had no role in the decision to terminate the employees. But the memo claims Mrs. Clinton was persuaded to give the lucrative media travel business to an Arkansas firm with ties to a Clinton friend. Tonight, the White House defense of Mrs. Clinton is that simply the memo is wrong. While he attended funeral services at the Naval Academy today, President Clinton was preparing for a trip to Bosnia. The president spoke at a service for the late Admiral Arleigh Burke. Mr. Clinton revealed he'll visit U.S. peacekeeping troops sometime next week. A tragedy at a desert car race in Morocco. A French driver was killed when his Citroën veered off the course into a minefield, where warring factions battled in the desert a decade ago. A second driver was also killed. Another car crashed, but the driver wasn't hurt. Further tests are being conducted after an autopsy revealed alcohol was in the blood of a pilot killed in a jet crash in Colombia. The American Airlines pilot was among 160 people who died in the jungle crash. The autopsy says the alcohol could be due to bodily decay. Pilots aren't allowed to drink for at least 8 hours before flying. Princess Diana is back in London after spending her New Year holiday in the West Indies. A British tabloid reports that she will no longer oppose a divorce from Prince Charles after 14 years of a tumultuous marriage. And the princess reportedly will ask for a multi-million-dollar settlement. And we'll be back with more news in 60 seconds. Actor, star, now you can add hero to words describing Mark Harmon. A fiery car crash right outside his house set the stage for this life-saving drama straight from a Hollywood script. Jane Wells joins us now live from Los Angeles with more on the Mark Harmon story. Jane?
Well, Chuck, it all happened in Brentwood, and it is a story of two teenage boys trapped in a burning car. One gets out, the other can't until Mark Harmon comes to the rescue. But this is not acting, this is real life. And rather than playing to the cameras, Harmon's been trying to avoid them. This is Mark Harmon checking with paramedics on the condition of the boy whose life he just saved, pulling him from this burning Jeep. And Harmon could not have done it without this sledgehammer returned to him by firefighters.
There you go. All right.
Harmon and his wife, actress Pam Dauber, didn't want to make a big deal out of what happened, but the media would not go away. And so in the morning, they came out to briefly face the cameras.
I'll just make a statement and kind of tell you briefly what we saw, what we reacted to.
You promised to go away.
It was Dauber who actually first saw the Jeep after hearing a huge crash outside and seeing her neighbor's gate gone.
So I ran up to the car. There was a voice in there screaming to get out there on fire. Tried to get the doors open, couldn't do it. Started screaming for the neighbor to call 911, started screaming for my husband to get a sledgehammer.
Which is exactly what he did.
Broke the window out. He was hung upside down and seemingly couldn't get free. Yelled at him to unbuckle. At the time, the flames were getting more intense, and reached up inside the car and got a hold of his belt and got him through the window and out.
And as I ran out, I saw him dragging a smoky body down the driveway.
I'd say from his thighs down, we're pretty much on fire. And I rolled him on the ground and got on top of him, pretty much put out the flames as much as I could, rolled him over, did the same thing.
Police believe the Jeep was speeding and missed a turn, crashing into the Harmon's neighbor's home. The 16-year-old driver only had minor injuries, but his 16-year-old passenger would probably have burned to death without Harmon's help. The actor later spoke with the boy's father.
He's doing better. He's not out of the woods yet, but he could sure use everybody's thoughts and prayers. And we thank you for your time and being patient, and now hope that you respect our privacy and let us go on with our lives. Thank you very much.
Quick question.
Well, that boy tonight, his condition has been upgraded from critical to serious, and he has first, second, and third-degree burns over 30% of his body. That's the latest from Los Angeles. Chuck?
All right, Jane, thank you. Police say the Jeep was going at least 60 miles an hour down that residential street when it crashed. An AIDS patient who got a bone marrow transfusion from a baboon in San Francisco last month went home today. Jeff Gotti had some strong words for those who said this procedure simply won't work.
It is to the naysayers who said that I would never recover from this procedure. Well, here I am, and you were wrong. To the careful FDA officials who said that I would most certainly die of a baboon disease, well, so far so good.
Well, it'll be at least a week before doctors know if the infusion is successful. Maintenance workers are on strike at 1,000 large office buildings, among them the 18-building complex at Rockefeller Center and the Empire State Building. The major issues include management's wanting to cut starting salaries of janitors, reduce sick days from 10 to 5, and eliminate differentials for weekend work shifts. It used to be the Brendan Byrne Arena, but take a look outside above all those covered-up letters. It is now the Continental Airlines Arena. The New Jersey Sports and Exhibition Authority made a deal with the airline for $29 million in cash and plane tickets. The name stays up there for 12 years, and the New Jersey Devils hockey team takes a 30% slice of the pie. Up next, New York's ballot battle. Presidential candidate Steve Forbes says he has beaten the New York State Republicans at their own game. My special report on just how hard it is to get on the ballot. But first, Janice with more on our cold weather. Janice?
Well, we won't set any record lows tonight, but it'll be colder than we like it. And there may be a nor'easter brewing for us this weekend. I have the details coming up next. But first, a look at tonight's lottery numbers.
Today is the deadline for getting on the ballot in New York State for the Republican presidential primary. The state's Republican Party bosses are backing Bob Dole and have battled to keep all other candidates off the ballot, effectively giving Republican voters no choice. But it turns out Dole may not have the ballot to himself. He may be forced to face this man. You will be on the ballot.
I will be on the ballot.
Steve Forbes may have done what no other Republican presidential candidate has accomplished in New York. Petitioned his way onto the ballot statewide without the help of the state Republican Party. Today, his campaign filed petitions from every congressional district in the state. It is a grueling and expensive task, the toughest in the nation. You may spend over $1 million just to get on the ballot in New York?
That's right. It is absolutely outrageous that you have to spend those kind of resources just getting your name on the ballot instead of getting your message of, at least my message of growth and opportunity, directly to the voters. It's a perversion of the democratic process.
Why is it so costly? Well, using lists of registered Republicans from the Board of Elections, lists with up to half the addresses out of date, Forbes campaign workers had to go door to door all across the state soliciting signatures. 1,250 valid signatures in each of the state's 31 congressional districts. And you better not make a mistake.
If there's one mistake on a petition, let's say you leave out your middle initial, not only does that signature get thrown out, but the whole petition gets thrown out. It's an outrage that a state of this size should have those kind of petty rules.
Compare New York's ballot rules with Connecticut. In Connecticut, it can be as easy as writing a letter to the Secretary of State. In New Jersey, it takes just a few hundred signatures to get on the ballot, compared with nearly 40,000 in New York. In California, the nation's largest state, if you're a nationally recognized candidate, you're automatically put on the ballot.
It's an attempt, successful attempt so far by party leaders to control the political choices that people have in the state of New York. In 1988, for example, when Senator D'Amato was trying to get Senator Dole on the ballot and the party bosses picked George Bush, he compared the system to the Soviet Union. Well, now today, Commissar D'Amato is behaving just the way he deplored in 1988.
Commissar D'Amato?
It's one thing to say you have a democracy, but if you can't get on the ballot, then it's kind of a meaningless thing. In the Republican primary, it is a Soviet-style system, one candidate and one candidate only.
Senator Al D'Amato, who's leading the effort to hand New York's delegates to Bob Dole, refused repeated requests for an interview on this story. In response to Forbes' charges, he issued a one-line written statement, quote, "Anyone who has grassroots support can get on the ballot," unquote. Well, no one ever has, and the Republican bosses may still use legal maneuvers to keep Steve Forbes off the ballot, as well as Pat Buchanan, who also filed petitions today. So far, legal challenges to the rules have failed, so unless the state Republicans decide to open up their ballot, New York will continue to be the least democratic state in the nation. In business briefs, the worst holiday season for retailers since the 1990-91 recession. Sears was among the winners and JCPenney the losers in December sales. Walt Disney's buyout of Cap City's ABC is almost a done deal. Shareholders for both companies voted their approval today. The federal shutdown's cutting into Ford truck sales. The EPA, which must certify the F-Series pickups, is now out of business. And the trend toward global warming hit a record level this year. As you know, it was bitter cold in New York City today, but according to scientists, our planet is getting warmer. The average temperature of the Earth climbed to a record 58.72 degrees in 1995, and scientists predict a half-degree increase in a decade. Well, it's not really a night to be talking about whether temperature increases, is it?
You never know it tonight with all that cold air that's out there. And now we have another storm that may be coming. It's not even formed yet, but it could be a big nor'easter for us by Sunday. I'll show you what I mean coming up. Let's go outside and check and see just how cold it is. 19 degrees right now here in the city. We have clouds. The clouds tend to act as a blanket to sort of hold in heat and prevent us from getting too cold. But we still expect a lot of areas down in the single digits tonight. Winds are out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. Relative humidity, 59%. The barometer is steady, 3019. The high today at Central Park was 23. That's all after a low of 13 degrees this morning. A trace of light snow fell late last night. All right, we'll check around our neighborhood weather net. The Lawrenceville School in Mercer County, New Jersey is at 15 degrees right now. And the temperature will go down to maybe about 9 or 10 degrees there. No winds, calm right now. Relative humidity at 94%. Look at how this cold Arctic air is pooling up though over eastern sections of Canada. Temperatures in the teens to 20s below zero over parts of Quebec and Ontario. Here across the tri-state area, we've got single digits and teens, and across upstate New York, it's below zero, and also Vermont and northern sections of Maine. We won't see air that cold here, but it's cold enough, that's for certain, here across our region. As we look back to the west, across the Ohio Valley. Little clipper storm moving across the region, bringing some light snow to places like Cincinnati and Louisville, into portions of West Virginia, and we'll get clipped by a little bit of that possibly late tonight in a few spots. And meanwhile, we're in the deep freeze, lots of cold air across our area, and there comes that little clipper storm. But that's not the storm we're concerned about that will bring possibly heavy snow to us on Sunday. That storm will be developing over the Gulf Coast tomorrow. It will intensify and spread snow up through the Ohio Valley, very heavy snow and thunderstorms to the south. And then the energy is supposed to transfer over to the middle Atlantic coast by the weekend and bring a nor'easter to the area. That's possible. Still a few days away, and it's hard to tell if that's going to be certain. In the meantime, we'll be very cold tomorrow and tonight. Temperatures in the single digits and teens, maybe some light snow flurries in some portions late tonight. Tomorrow morning, a few leftover snow showers. The sun will come out during the late morning hours, but still it will be very cold. Not as much wind, so that's good news. At least it won't feel so bitter outside. Tomorrow during the day, highs teens, 20s. We do have snow cover in a lot of areas, so the temperatures don't warm up considerably. We'll have partly cloudy skies in the region, winds out of the northwest. And here's a look at the 5-day forecast. As we look ahead, Saturday looks pretty good. A high of 28, still cold, but we'll have sunshine, but clouds rolling in during the afternoon. And if our computer forecast models are correct, we get this nor'easter coming in on Sunday, then we'll have some snow, and it could be heavy, as I mentioned. 29, lasting into Monday, a high of 30, and Tuesday tapering off with a high of 28. Of course, this is quite premature in terms of the nor'easter, but we'll keep talking about it the rest of this week, and we'll give you some updates tomorrow morning and tomorrow during the day.
Right. Len straight ahead with the complete sports picture, with his little camera too, right?
Well, you know, it was the Channel 4 Christmas party tonight because of the snowstorm. It was, and they gave out cameras everywhere. I'm going to take a picture of everyone at home.
Yeah.
All right.
I probably messed up the cameras, right? I got you all at home. Coming up, it's the Knicks and the Nets tonight as the two locals go head-to-head at the Garden. Nice play. In hockey, the Islanders in Montreal and the end of the line for Don Shula. It's all next in sports on News Channel 4 and 11.
Well, General Motors rolled out its New Year's surprise, the EV1. This snappy little number is the Auto Giant's electric car. It's powered by a nickel metal hydride battery and uses a magnetic charging system. GM says it'll be the most energy efficient and aerodynamic car on the road, and it's going on sale in California and Arizona first.
I think I read the range is about 80 or 90 miles before you have to
Plug it in and wait a while?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks pretty neat, though.
Yeah, if you get short distances, fine.
Let's do it.
How about Don
sports?
Shula?
Yes, the end of an era. After over a quarter century, reports out of Florida say Don Shula is finished. He is finally calling it quits with the Dolphins. A news conference expected tomorrow. He, of course, the all-time winningest NFL coach, coaching Miami Dolphins for 26 years. His team did make the playoffs, and then they got blown away in Buffalo. He had 1 year left on his contract.
My first reaction was I was upset, I was disappointed. We all expected Coach Shula to be back. We know there was going to be changes on the staff, but none of us expected Coach Shula to go down. He brought me here, he brought the whole team here, so we all have a lot of loyalty to him, but we all wish him the best.
That's for sure. Shula turning 66 years old. Former Cowboy coach Jimmy Johnson has long been mentioned as a possible Shula replacement in Miami. Basketball, Knicks and Nets at the Garden tonight. The Knicks without Patrick Ewing and Bickering, and the Nets, as always, the Nets. First half, Sean Bradley for New Jersey. Happy that Ewing was out, and he hits it. He's fouled. The Nets leading by 6 at the half, but fourth quarter, Knicks leading by 2. Sean Bradley goes up, misses it, gets it back, goes up again, and misses again. Shades of Charles Smith, who blocked him on that play. Remember Smith against Chicago a couple of years back? From that point on, all Knicks. Here goes Smith inside, coming alive. He had 13, 7 Knicks in double figures. And Charles Oakley with a pretty pass to Doug Christie, who got playing time. The Knicks going up by 7. A nightmare game for Kenny Anderson. He had hoped to impress Knicks management, turned it over there. He was just 1 of 9 shooting. Hubert Davis for 3. The Knicks win it 105-93, breaking their 3-game losing streak. Elsewhere in the NBA tonight in Charlotte, Hornets in white against the Bulls, and look out, Larry Johnson nailed by Scottie Pippen, but he was okay. Michael Jordan leading the way tonight for Chicago. He had 27. The Bulls up their NBA best record to 27-3. So Chicago winning in Charlotte. Seattle won in Miami. That's 7 straight for the Supersonics. Atlanta beat Toronto in overtime. and Washington beat Dallas by 12. Hockey, the Islanders hosting Montreal. The Islanders were down 2-0 but came back. 2.5 minutes left in the third. Alexander Semak tied it for the Islanders, his 14th. The game went into overtime. 7 seconds left in overtime. Ziggy Palffy with the chance, and Pat Jablonski turns it away. 2-2 the final. 2 Montreal goals got disallowed by the video replay judge. Elsewhere, St. Louis won in Chicago. Colorado leads Philadelphia third period. College basketball, number 1 UMass beat number 3 Memphis 64-61. The Yankees trotting out their new lefty today. Kenny Rogers said what convinced him to sign with the Yanks was the fact that David Cohn is staying put. He says George Steinbrenner's pressure not a concern to him.
Mr. Steinbrenner, he's not going to bother me because I don't, it doesn't matter. He's the owner. He can do whatever he wants. And, you know, he makes paychecks. He can say or do whatever he wants, and we have to listen. So I won't have a problem with that at all. I really, when I met with him down in Florida, I liked him. I liked the fiery attitude, you know, and all that. So he doesn't pull any punches, and I like that.
They all love George. By the way, one other NBA final just in Minnesota, shocking the Suns in Phoenix, 98-93. And a fashion note, Green Bay playing in San Francisco this weekend, which means they are cranking out loads of cheese heads for the Packer fans to wear. And so that 49er fans don't feel left out, a Wisconsin company is also making sourdough bread heads for them.
So what do you think the interest will be out there?
Well, I hope it'll rise.
What do you think the New York food hat of choice would be?
Hot dog.
How about Knish heads?
Or pretzel.
Pizza pie heads. All right.
Thanks, Len. Well, the Dolphins lost one with Don Shula stepping aside, but tonight there was a new dolphin in an Argentina zoo where a baby dolphin is born. Coming up on News Channel 4. Tomorrow's headlines now. An aide to New Jersey Assembly Speaker Chuck Hytian holds a news conference on that sexual harassment lawsuit filed against Hytian. The New York Blood Center starts a 3-day donor drive to combat traditionally low blood levels. And school kids, parents, and animals take part in the annual King's Day Parade in East Harlem. Get your first look at the day's news on Today in New York starting at 5:30 in the morning following NBC News at sunrise. And finally tonight, a new zoo baby born in Argentina right before our eyes. It took the mother dolphin only 50 minutes to introduce her new baby to the world. The Sea Aquarium personnel videotaped the birth as a small group of spectators watched. Within minutes, the baby dolphin was swimming alongside its mother and learning to nurse. The new mammal is still unnamed, but the zoo is asking school children for their suggestions. That's our news for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.